Welcome back. This is our sermon podcast for Friday, September the 24th. And it's kind of hard to believe that we are blowing through the month of September. And it's crazy to think that, that we're in September even. I feel like we just started 2021. And so we're barreling toward 2022 very quickly. But thank you for being a part of this as we prepare for the messages that are coming up at Denver United Methodist and Huntersville United Methodist this weekend. And of course, we're going to be concentrating on the first part of this parable of the prodigal son, where the younger son looks at his dad and says, basically, you're as good as dead to me. Give me my gifts and let me use them how I want. I'm going to go. That's my interpretation. But I think, how many times have I used God's gifts, the gifts that God has given me as an individual, for things that did not glorify God? Do you get what I'm saying? Is that too?
No, I absolutely think, because, so many times we think about, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. Whereas when we really are seeing, I think, the real true picture is everything we are, everything we have is a gift from God. We are stewards of what God has given. And what we do with those gifts really determines how we respond rightly to God.
And this idea that this person, this younger son, took the gifts that his father freely gave him and squandered them.
Yeah, it's really mind-numbing to think about that the father actually acquiesced to this request. That he did whatever he needed to do, that he pulled the money out of the bank or out of the mattress or whatever he did in order to enable this money to be given to this son. It would have been a large sum of money. One of the things we recognize in this parable is that because the father had all of the land, that he was a landowner, he had many possessions, he would have been considered very wealthy in that culture. So the sum of money that the younger son was asking for was a large sum of money, a significant investment on the father's behalf.
And there is something that's about too much too soon.
Yeah.
That bears in mind. I know a lot of people who do have significant resources often set up their wills and trusts so that the young person couldn't possibly inherit anything until they're at least 25 or 30. There's probably some prudence in that. We don't know how old this younger son is. You got any guesses?
Well, the guess is that he might have even been a teen, because in this culture, people were not living till 70 and 80. They were likely living in max 50 and 60. That this son would have been probably a teenager. He would have been feeling his oats. He would have been thinking that I'm old enough. I'm to make my own decisions. So likely
what age were you when you were at your smartest, Paul?
I haven't gotten there yet.
No, but I have. Hoping. I peaked.
You peaked at
when I was 18, 17 or 18. I think that's when I knew the most.
Yeah. When we figured out that our parents were that dumb and they didn't get it and all that. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? I was. And then my decline has been rather precipitous since then. But when you're that age, at least I'll speak from personal experience. I really didn't think I knew at all. I mean, and there's something about youth that's awesome, because you have that confidence, that vigor, that I can go take on the world. But you also don't have all the information about how the world works. And this younger son certainly didn't have that information.
Yeah, my mom is fond of telling a story about me going away to college with a certain amount of money. Within a pretty short period of time, I'd spent all that money, run through it. And I'm calling home, hey, I need some more money. Well, what'd you do with all that money? Well, you really don't want to know. But but it probably wasn't spent as wisely as I should have.
So you may have squandered some money?
I might have squandered in loose living. Some of that initial money. But you think about, the older we get, we think about how much we do learn about the value of things. And I'm not sure that this young man at this point understood anything about the value of things.
I don't think he understood the value money. Obviously, he was not a good steward of it. We don't know how long it took, but it doesn't appear to take him long to be separated from what was essentially a small fortune. Should have been enough money to last him. If he had managed it well, he could have lived the rest of his life on it. So it doesn't take him long to run through that, and he squanders that. He also didn't understand the value of relationship with his father, because he completely, he just destroys that, breaks his father's heart.
Yeah, you read from scripture earlier. How did your scripture verse say that it was this something living? How did it describe it? Dissolute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to guess wine, maybe women, and song. That's the old adage, right?
Right.
That how we throw away money.
Yep. Yeah. There's a lot of way, and a fool and his money will soon be parted. That all comes in there. But so it's tied up with this idea of rebellion. It's also tied up with this idea of taking the gifts that God freely gives and using them and wasting them for your own whatever. I mean, and I think that's one of those things that, everyone is gifted by God with certain abilities. How are you using them for the sake of God? And are you using them for the sake of God is a big question.
Well, I think one of the things that I've come to recognize through the years is the value of sometimes of a hard lesson. One of the things I think as a parent that I did figure out after a while, and would encourage all parents, is sometimes you have to let your children fail. You have to let them make even a significant mistake. You hope it's not fatal, but you recognize that sometimes we just simply aren't able to learn life's lessons by someone telling us. We have to experience oftentimes some hardship, some separation, some real anxiety, some real deep struggle.
And that idea of
learn that lesson.
Yeah, that idea of separation's in there too, because he doesn't just go down the road. So he goes to another country. Mm-hmm. Now, geographically, when we think about going to another country, we have to travel quite a ways to go to Canada or Mexico from where we're located. But in Israel, to go to another country is significant. It's while it may not be, depending on where this person was, where the story is located, he could have gotten to another country in a day or two, or it could have taken a week. We don't know. But what it's saying is he didn't stay in the neighborhood. He didn't stay close enough to be in relationship back with his father. He severed all ties. And
certainly never intended to come back. That's obvious. He intended this to be a permanent type separation from the family and the father, and had no intention of going back. Steve, as we get ready for Sunday at Denver and Huntersville, what are you going to ask your folks to look forward to in Sunday? What should they be thinking about in preparation for the sermon?
Well, I want to think about what does it mean to push back against God? What does it mean to not live under God's authority? What does it mean to rebel? And what parts of your life, take a deep look at it and say, is there an aspect of my life that I haven't, that I'm taking from God and saying, I want to control this?
Yeah, I think as we even talked a little bit about last time, who we see ourselves in this story really is, it says everything about us, about our understanding of God. If we're sitting there telling that story alongside Jesus, and we see ourselves through the eyes of the storyteller, that might not be what we need to hear.
Yeah, I think
we are the prodigal son. Maybe we've been lost. Maybe we're going to find out about a brother.
And have you taken the other question, among many questions here, maybe I need to get this down to just one question, but have you taken what God has generously given you and used it? Have you done well by it, or have you squandered it?
Yeah, squandered it in loose living. But
well,
anything special going on at Denver this weekend that
I'm just reading. Just got a text from our bishop. He said that you are under authority and that you're coming to Denver to be the next associate pastor.
Well, good. They begged me, Denver, to come over and save them. So I'll tell the folks I'm happy to oblige.
They need help, believe me. Yeah, because they've had to put up with me. But no, we're having our normal worship times right now. We just sent out an email last week about our new worship times that are coming up in November. So we're resetting how we're doing worship first Sunday in November, which is November 7th. But for this Sunday, 8:15 Sanctuary, 10:15 at the Arbor, and 11:15 in the Family Life Center.
Yeah, we're struggling trying to figure out how best to respond to this pandemic. But we're 8:30 inside and we're 10:30 outside in that same location that we were last summer. So I look forward to seeing you folks there.
All right, well, thank you, Paul, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. We look forward to continuing this journey. Paul just disappeared. He's back.
I'm back. I just had to cough. I didn't think you wanted to hear that. Thanks, folks. I'll see you Sunday.
All right, take care. God bless y'all.